Shadow people is the modern name for a very specific kind of encounter. Most reports describe a figure that looks human-shaped, but completely dark. Not just a shadow cast on the wall, a silhouette. Some say it's tall, some say it's thin, some say it doesn't move at all. But almost everyone describes the same detail. You don't just see it, you feel it. A presence, like you're being watched. Many people report these sightings in the same conditions. Late at night, in dim lighting, when they're exhausted, when they wake up suddenly, or when they're in that strange space between sleep and waking. And that last detail matters more than most people realize, because one of the most documented explanations for shadow figure encounters involves a real well-studied phenomenon: sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis happens when your brain wakes up, but your body doesn't. During REM sleep, the body naturally goes into a state of muscle paralysis so you don't act out your dreams. But sometimes, you regain awareness before that paralysis ends. The result can feel terrifying. You're awake, you're aware, but you can't move. Many people also report pressure on the chest, difficulty breathing, and an intense sense of fear. And here's the part that connects directly to shadow people. A large number of sleep paralysis experiences include something called an intruder hallucination, a vivid sensation that someone is in the room, watching, approaching, standing in the corner. This is not rare. Medical sources describe sleep paralysis as being associated with hallucinations and fear, and many people report sensing a presence in the room. And in scientific literature, sleep paralysis is often described as involving vivid hallucinations, including the sensation of a threatening presence. So if you've ever woken up unable to move and felt like something was in the room with you, you're not alone. And you're not imagining the fear. The brain can create it fully. Here's where the story gets even stranger. Even when people have never heard the phrase shadow people, they describe similar encounters. Different cultures have different names, different stories, different meanings. But the image is familiar. A figure in the dark, a presence in the room. Something human-shaped, but not human. In some traditions, it's described as a spirit. In others, an omen. In others, a warning. And this pattern raises a difficult question. Are people around the world seeing the same thing? Or are humans wired to interpret darkness the same way? Because there's another explanation that isn't paranormal at all. But it's still unsettling. There's a psychological phenomenon called pareidolia. It's the brain's tendency to find meaning in randomness, faces in clouds, shapes in shadows, patterns in static. It's why a coat hanging on a chair can look like a person at 3 a.m., why a doorway can look occupied, even when it's empty. And pareidolia isn't a glitch. It's a survival feature. Your brain would rather be wrong and keep you alive than be right and too slow to react. Now combine pareidolia with exhaustion, stress, low lighting, and peripheral vision, and suddenly the conditions are perfect for shadow figures to appear. Not because something is there, but because your brain is doing what it was built to do: protect you, even from nothing. Have you noticed how often people say the same thing? I saw it out of the corner of my eye. That's not a coincidence. Peripheral vision is excellent at detecting motion, but it's not great at detail. In low light, your brain fills in missing information, so a moving curtain, a shifting reflection, a passing car's headlights can become something else entirely. A figure, a person, a shape that wasn't there a second ago. And once your brain labels it as human, your body reacts instantly. Heart racing, skin cold, breath caught, because something deep in you believes you're not alone. Some people report something even more specific. Not just a shadow, but a figure with a recognizable outline, a tall shape, with what looks like a brimmed hat, often called the Hat Man. This detail is strange because it's so consistent. If people were making it up, you'd expect the descriptions to vary wildly, but many reports describe the same silhouette, the same stillness, the same feeling of being watched. Now, does that prove it's a real entity? No. But it does show something important. When the brain creates fear, it doesn't always create chaos. Sometimes it creates a pattern, a shape that becomes recognizable, repeatable, almost mythic. If shadow people are explained by sleep paralysis, perception, and pattern recognition, why do they feel so real? Because the fear is real. Your nervous system doesn't care whether the threat is physical. When your brain says danger, your body responds. Adrenaline floods in, your senses sharpen, your memory locks the moment into place. That's why people remember these experiences for years. Not because they want to believe, but because the experience leaves a mark. And for those who've seen it, the question isn't, was it real? The question is, why did it feel like it was? So what are shadow people? A sleep state intruder hallucination? A trick of darkness and peripheral vision? A survival instinct turning shadows into threats? Or something we still don't fully understand? There's no single answer that fits every story. But one thing is clear. Across cultures, across time, people describe the same kind of fear, a figure in the dark, a presence in the room, and the feeling that, for a moment, you weren't alone. If you've ever experienced something like this, tell me what happened, only if you're comfortable. And if you want more mysteries like this, grounded, eerie, and unexplained, subscribe to Echoes Unknown. Because some stories don't end, they just fade into the dark.